students. We're back today with part 2 of lesson 9.4, which is studying expanding or multiplying binomials. Today's essential questions include, what is a binomial? And how do I find the product of a binomial? Let's begin with the first question being asked. How do we classify a polynomial? To classify a polynomial, we focus on the number of terms it has. So again, to classify a polynomial, we focus on the number of terms it has. The most simple monomial we can have is a monomial that has one term. An example of a single-termed monomial could be 3x or 5. There are infinitely many monomials we can write. A binomial, which is the one we'll be working with most often here, is a sum of two terms. One example is 4x plus 2. Another example is 7x squared plus 6. Notice in each case we have two terms that are being combined by an addition sign. The last example we have is a trinomial. A trinomial is a polynomial that has three terms. Three terms could be added or subtracted from each other. So one example is 5x to the fourth minus 3x plus 2. A second example is 2x squared plus 2x plus 3. Again, there are infinitely many options we have for creating trinomials, binomials, and monomials. The important thing to remember is that it is classified by the number of terms it has. Let's go ahead and take a look at how to multiply binomials together. For our first example, we are going to be looking at the question x plus 2 times x minus 4. Now, when I do this, I like to organize it with a box. And this is kind of a lot like a Punnett square if you've ever done those in science class. So what we do is the first binomial has two terms. So I'm going to write x plus 2 across the top of my box. Next, I'm going to write x minus 4 across or down the side of my box. Now, we multiply the terms that are on the outside of each square together to get the value inside. So x times x becomes x squared. The same thing multiplied by itself is a squared term. X times 2 is 2x. Negative 4 times x is negative 4x. And negative 4 times 2 is negative 8. Now that we've multiplied all of the terms together, the next task or job that we have is we need to add up or combine like terms from inside of this box. So we're going to look at the orange terms, and I notice that we have negative 4x and 2x. They're considered to be like terms, so I can combine them. That gives me negative 2x. The other two terms in this particular case are not like terms. I can write x squared in front and minus 8 in back. The reason we write it in this order is because this is known as the standard form of a quadratic equation, with the highest exponent first, ending with a constant. Let's take a look at two more examples. In the next example, you'll notice that we have coefficients in front of the x, but the process is still the same. I'm going to write the first binomial across the top, and I will write the second binomial down the side of my box. Notice that each number in each binomial goes on the side of one of the boxes. Now I'm going to multiply the numbers together or terms together and put that answer inside of each of the squares. 2x times 3x is 6x. 2x times 1 is 2x. Negative 5 times 3x is negative 15x. And negative 5 times 1 is negative 5. Now that we have filled in each of the terms inside of the box, we look for like terms. Again, you notice that those like terms are showing up on the diagonal. This doesn't have to happen, but it often does. Oops, I'm sorry, I forgot to put my squared on my 6x squared. I apologize. So now that we've corrected that, let's go ahead and write our answer. We have 6x squared. Negative 15 and 2 is negative 13x. And last but not least, we have negative 5. These binomials multiplied together equal 6x squared minus 13x minus 5. All right, I have one more problem for us to go through today. In this problem, we have a constant out front. We're going to save that 3 for the very last step. To begin, though, we will continue with the same process we've done before. X minus 7 across the top. X minus 4 on the side. We multiply this together. When we multiply this, we get x squared minus 7x minus 4x positive 28. Again, we combine our like terms. This gives us x squared minus 11x plus 28. Now, I caution you not to finish yet. Remember, we saved that 3 for the end. Now we're ready to address that 3. What we need to do is distribute. We need to distribute the 3 into each term inside of this trinomial. So distributing means multiply each number by 3. We get 3x squared minus 33x plus 84. This is your final answer. Notice there are no parentheses, and it tends to look a lot like our general form, which we've recently learned. At the bottom, I've summarized these steps. Step 1, make a box that is the correct size. We will typically have our box be a 2x2 box. Step 2, multiply each number on the sides together. Step 3, combine like terms. Step 4, applied only in this last case here, shows you distributing a number in. And step 5, write your final answer. I hope this tutorial was helpful in teaching you how to multiply binomials together.